Yeah, and which I mean, there's a case for going the full crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to go full crazy now. Just get it
just get it over with, right? Here's what we're buzzing about at News Beast. It's all Super Tuesday, the morning after. And we've got a hell of a good panel talking about it today. We have Taegan Goddard for Political Wire and the legendary Mark McKinnon, Daily Beast columnist, doing his impression of the most interesting man in the world.
Stay thirsty, my friend.
Yes, with a panuelo. And those of you who don't fully appreciate Mark McKinnon, he's the only man who wrote songs with Chris Christopherson and got George W. Bush elected president. Right there. Most interesting man in the world credibility. So gentlemen, the dust is clearing. We got Romney's 6 states, and yet he has been denied the decisive win. What's your takeaway?
Well, it's the constant and yet. But he did what he had to do. It reminds me of the great Richard Ben Kramer book, What It Takes.
Oh, great book.
You know, he's done what it takes to win, but it comes off as sort of a mercenary and bloodless. And he can't seem to put it away, which means that the chaos will continue. Extend these primaries indefinitely. I think you've got some things to say about that,
yeah,
which we'll be interested to hear about. But it's not good. You really can't make a credible argument that these drawn-out primaries are good for the Republicans because we're seeing real collateral damage with independents, with women, and with Hispanics. And it's getting deep and difficult to climb back out.
No, I mean, and the problem is that the RNC rules that they put in place, they're proportional this year. So, I mean, it is really just functionally difficult to score that knockout punch that's compounded by Romney's problem with the base to begin with. So, you know, we did, Ben Jacobs and I crunched some numbers on this. And if Romney were to win all the delegates going forward, he still wouldn't clinch till May. And if he sticks to his proportional average at 40%, this thing goes to Tampa. And as yet, I mean, he still may have to do undeclared delegates. So there's no clear path to a Romney win, and instead you've got this sort of water torture that's going to just continue and ultimately benefit only Barack Obama.
I mean, that said, John, an ugly win is better than a pretty loss.
Absolutely.
So nonetheless, Romney's still winning, and more importantly, there is no path to victory for Rick Santorum or Newt Gingrich either. There's really only a path to blocking Romney at this point.
That's exactly right.
And the problem is you go to the convention, and if the people who have the potential to block Romney aren't the answer to, that's probably a problem, you know. So ultimately, the establishment, as we've seen over the last week, is going to slowly drift and move towards Romney, I think. And so, while it looks ugly this morning, I think it'll look less ugly in 2-3 weeks.
Here's what's interesting, right? You got Kansas, Mississippi, Alabama. This is not Romney country. There's another innovation that makes this all more difficult, which is the super PACs.
Right.
So one sugar daddy can keep a campaign going on its own. So the normal pressures that would force a guy out, which is, look, you know, I just don't have the cash to keep this up, that no longer applies in the same way.
Well, that, and there's really limited bounce here because I had the USA Today this morning, and the headline is split decision because they really didn't get clear results till late in the morning. We're going to bounce into the next news cycle pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And the next week or two is going to be dominated by probably Santorum victories. So there's that dynamic going on, which has just compounded the difficulty that Romney has to really put it away again. And the problem is, as you play this out, it's hard to see how he gets to a clear majority at the convention.
No, what's also interesting is you go into this, if you take a look at the ad spending right now, the ad spending in Mississippi and Alabama, Louisiana and Kansas, it's all being done by Romney's super PAC right now.
Right.
Romney doesn't have any money left. There's a campaign finance filing coming up on March 20th. Once again, last night during his victory speech, or so-called victory speech, he mentioned MittRomney.com.
Yeah, he passed the tin hat. He passed the hat a little bit.
He's looking for donations, but right now the super PAC is keeping Romney alive as well. Now, Romney's got one small difference in the fact that he can write a check to himself as well and keep his campaign going. But there's no doubt that Santorum and Gingrich would not be fighting if it weren't for the super PACs.
Inside the GOP, I mean, it's easy to have a conversation blaming the RNC for these proportional rules, but how much conversation is being had about this is actually a problem with polarization? That Romney, who was the conservative candidate last time around, now is seen as a center-right sellout, and the party's, elements of the party's activist base are seriously considering Newt Gingrich or Rick Santorum as an alternative, which would have been a flat-out laugh line 6 months ago.
No, that's absolutely right. If you look at the exit polls for the last 5 or 6 contests, the only reason that Romney is not pulling away is that he's not able to appeal to conservatives right now. I mean, it's just baked. Its ideology is his problem right now.
I worry that all the wrong lessons might be learned. Let's say Romney gets the nomination, loses the general, then you're going to have the sort of conservative part of the wing saying, see, that's the problem. We need to really elect a Santorum next time around, and then we'll really burn down the house.
Yeah, and which I mean, there's a case for going the full crazy. right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd like to go full crazy now. Just get it
just get it over with. Right? I mean, because I do think that the activist elements who have somehow equated ideological purity with electability, which is a hell of a hat trick, need to remember what it's like to lose 45 states.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a reality check that'll really hammer some sense into you. McKinnon, final word?
Chaos.
Asterisk.
What, asterisk?
Asterisk. Every Romney victory is really it's not really a victory. It's got an asterisk.
He's the Roger Maris.
Yeah, the Roger Maris
of the
Oh,
Republican
that's a
Party.
good line.
Presidential
Campaign.
Give it to you as a gift.
I'm going to write it for post. I'm going to steal it.
Kansas, because that's what's next. That's all for us at Newsbeast. We'll see you tomorrow. That was fun.
Great, thanks.